Loves making chocolate brownies, and I'm going to show you a brilliant way to make them now that'll leave them nice and crispy on the outside and lovely and gooey in the middle. It's a perfect recipe to make with your kids. It's lovely homemade chocolate brownies. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do to start these brownies is I've got a little pot of water on and I've got a little bowl sitting on top of that. Now that's called either a double boiler or a bain-marie, and what we want to do is keep it on a really low heat because chocolate is quite sensitive, so we really just want to bring it to the nice and slowly. So in goes our butter and chocolate, and that's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to melt. Absolutely no rush, really low temperature, and we'll just leave it there and give it a stir every once in a while. So as that chocolate's melting, I'm just going to sift my flour and my cocoa powder together into a little bowl. This just takes out any impurities that might be in the flour or the cocoa powder, any little lumps. As you can see over here, the chocolate has just started to melt with the butter nicely, and you really want to keep that on a low heat. Basically, if you dip your little finger in that, it should be the same temperature as your body is, not any hotter than that. And so now that that's melted, we're going to take it straight off and put it into a glass bowl. Now that we've got our mixtures on the go, the next thing that I need to do is get my tray ready for my brownies. So what I've done is I've just melted a little bit of butter, and using my pastry brush, I'm just going to brush that evenly all over my dish. My brownies have a tendency to stick quite a lot to the dish. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give myself double insurance, and not only am I putting butter in there, but I'm also going to give it a nice sprinkling of flour on the bottom. Both these things together will make sure that they don't stick at all. So once the flour's in there, just shake it around, making sure to get it on the edges as well. And that's our dish ready to rock. The next thing that I'm going to do is just add in one egg at a time. Very important that you really do this one at a time, because if you put them all in one go, the temperature is going to drop right down at that chocolate and it wouldn't mix together properly. So in that goes. Again, whisk it up until it comes together, and then you're ready to move on to the next one. You can see how silky and smooth that lovely mixture is. So now that that's ready, we're ready to start combining all the different parts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my implement, and I'm going to start using Mr. Spatula again. So in goes our cocoa powder and flour mixture on top of our chocolate, and I'm just going to bring that together nice and slowly with my spatula. So the flour is going to act as that nice thickening agent in this whole mixture. And it's very important that you use a good quality chocolate for these brownies. Try and get something with about a 70% cocoa solids as a minimum. It really will make all that difference. So you can see that starting to actually look like brownies now. It's lovely and thick, nice and rich. And it's starting to get nice and smooth again now that we've incorporated the flour and the cocoa powder in there. So I think that's just about perfect. There's only one more thing to add, and that's our sugar. So the sugar goes in on top, and again just bring it together with your spatula. Now one last thing that you might not associate with brownies, but definitely has to go in there, is a little twist of salt. So we'll just incorporate that salt, and I think our brownies are just about ready to go into that nice greased tray. The mixture's looking smooth. It just falls away from the side of the bowls. That's the butter in there. And we'll bring our dish across. we're just going to pour that in. Now that mixture to me looks absolutely fantastic. There's lots of different varieties. Some people like nuts in there. You could make a nice white chocolate brownie, but I just think that this recipe is absolutely perfect for the kids. It's going to be so nice, rich, it's going to be crispy, and then when you bite in, you're going to have that lovely, gooey interior. So just spread it out nice and evenly, making sure the mix is evenly distributed. And that's our brownies ready to go into the oven. So my brownies have been in here for about 40 minutes. I'm just very carefully going to take them out, and I'm going to set them on a wire rack so that air really circulates underneath and it cools down quicker. Now if you're not sure if they're cooked or not, I've got one of these, a nice wooden skewer or a toothpick, and straight into the middle, which is the hardest part to cook. It comes out and I can see that it's clean. If there's loads of doughy bits sticking onto that, they're not cooked. Put them back in. So I'm going to let those cool down, and we're going to serve them up with a lovely